Hello everybody, it's Steve here. I'm a window cleaner. I've been a window cleaner for a long time. Started my own business in October of 2001, which now it's January of 2021. We're coming up on my 20-year anniversary working for me. And before that I worked for my brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, for 3.5 years, and he'd been doing this for about 15 years before that, so he trained me very well. He didn't just give me a squeegee and send me out on my own. He actually trained me, which you don't see very often anymore. And some things I wanted to show you save you some money in cleaning windows for yourself. If you want to go into business for yourself, I encourage that. About $500–600 and you're on your way. You know, and that's including insurance and fees and equipment, basic equipment, everything. So that's what I'm going to talk about here, some ways that you can save money, a lot of money over the long term. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was scrubber covers, gloves, T-bar covers, whatever they have a lot of different names for them. But first of all, the ones that I really like the most are right here. They have a nice scratchy side on this side, nice fluffy side on that side. They're made by J. Racenstein. They were called Blue Max. They haven't had them for about a decade now, maybe longer. And when I found out they were doing away with them, I bought as many as I could get. And this is my last 10-inch. I have one 18-inch that I'm still using. And as you can see, they're starting to wear thin. So please, Racenstein, if you're listening, find somebody to make these. Ettore, make these. Nobody makes these. J. Racenstein found somebody to make something similar. I got a couple of them. They stopped making them too. These are fantastic. They have a good scrubby side on one side that has fibers in it so it still holds some water. The other side holds a lot of water. The only problem with these is that this scratchy side, which is just plastic fibers is all it is, won't hurt glass, but it will hurt plastic tinting film and like plastic glass, like plexiglass, things like that kind of thing. It will scratch them, so you need to be very careful. And part of the reason I bring that up is because I tried this called the Porcupine, made by Ettore, called the Porcupine Glove, and it does a good job of scrubbing, but it has the same situation. You have to be careful with anything plastic on the windows, because it will scratch them. The downside is, you might notice, scratchy side. It doesn't have a non-scratchy side, so you can't use this on plastic covered windows or plastic windows for that matter without taking a chance of scratching them, doing damage, which is going to, of course, cost you money. So you don't want that. And I'm going to tell you about this one just because I happen to have it with me. This is a Super Soaker. I don't know for sure if that's the exact name, but I've had it for a few years. It does hold a lot of water. It really does. It stays wet for a long time. Two things I've noticed about it though is that you have to add extra soap to the water because this tends to deteriorate it. I don't know why. But also, after a while, it starts shedding. You get what's, at first I thought it was cat hairs on the windows. And you know how tough they can be. You get up under your squeegee, start leaving lines. It's just a mess. So that one's about to be pitched, because it just started fuzzing on me. Another thing I wanted to discuss too is your scraper, your razor scraper. There's a lot of different razor scrapers out there. I've got 8 or 9 different ones. I've tried them all, and they all have their place, I guess. But a good overall scraper, if you can only afford one to get started, 6-inch T-bar scraper. Now this is a Triumph MK3, which I have no idea what that means. Made by Triumph, 6-inch scraper. Now this lid, I had to buy lids because the lid that was on this one broke. The last thing you want is to have a lid falling off this in your bucket or in your pocket. But the real money saver I want to talk about on this, because I mean you can buy another brand, you can buy another size if that's what you prefer, but I get the stainless steel blades. They used to make heavy duty and regular duty. Now they just make heavy duty, at least as far as I can tell. But I always buy the heavy duty because they last longer. But the reason I get the stainless steel, and I know what you might be thinking, well, the other steel hardened steel. It's going to stay sharp longer. You're right, it will. But how often do you use a scraper? Now maybe if you got a big job, you're going to be scraping all day, you might want to get the other ones. But most of the time, you pull out your scraper for the occasional window. You don't want to have to put a new razor blade in every time you do that. And if you don't buy the stainless steel blades, that's what you got to do. You got to put a new blade in every time because it's sitting in water for weeks. And what does it do? Yeah, you got it. It rusts. So we don't want a rusty blade because that's a guaranteed scratched window, right? We're trying not to scratch the windows. So that's another piece of advice. Save you some money, a lot of money over the long haul. One pack of regular steel blades will last you a couple of months. One pack of stainless steel blades will last you a couple of years. Big savings, right? Now another thing that you might be spending a lot of money on, they might have told you you need to have a sponge. A nice natural Z sponge. And I started out with those. That's what I was trained with. And I used them for several years. And I just happened upon this Farm King store where I could buy a sponge like this big, cut it in half, have two. But it still cost me about 12 bucks for that big sponge. And that was the best price I found anywhere. Online, boy, did they charge you out the yin-yang for a natural sponge. You don't need it. You don't need a natural sponge. And I'll tell you why. Dollar Tree, 3-pack for $1. Microfiber. Fold them up, twist them nice and dry. You can wipe ledges, you can wipe your squeegee on them. They're just as good. And I've had this for 2 years, 3 years now. It still works fine. I got a second one. I went to Walmart. They had some larger ones. I got a 3-pack for $1.97. Had that one for about 1 year. Why pay more, right? That's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Now, another thing you can do to save money, and the really big money savings are coming up at the end, so be prepared for that. Why buy anything else? Matter of fact, the Walmart sells a generic of this that is almost as good as the original Dawn. Almost. It's not quite. It tends to foam a little more, which can be a problem, but this cuts grease, so it's great for working in restaurants. It's great for homes. It slides real good. It's nice and strong. You don't need very much of it. And you know, you can get a great big jug of it for $8, $9. That other stuff, the special, I don't know, they call it Glass Glide, and they have a bunch of different names, a bunch of different kinds that don't foam up. But I found that you got to use quite a bit of those to get them to work, and they still don't work as well as the soap, and they don't cut grease like the soap. So for my money, yeah, just get some Dawn dishwashing liquid. Best all around you can get. It's not too hard on the hands either. And something I learned up north, if you live in a colder climate, which I don't now, I'm in Palm Bay, Florida, but I used to be in Illinois. And if they used to have, and they still do with certain kinds, they used to have Dawn with hand care, and like Palmolive, and these ones that have the stuff to keep your hands soft. In the cold weather, it will make your hands burn, hurt. They get really sore after a while, so don't get the hand care, no matter how tempting it might be to get the hand care. And another thing, it's the next to last thing here, I guess, bucket on a belt. This is, I got 2 of these. This is the one I've got that I never have used. I think I got it for free somewhere, but it's Ettore or Ettore, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And once again, it's not really important how it's pronounced. It's got this little clip it, hook, run your belt through it, clip it on the belt, you can unclip it. Your squeegee goes here in this slot, your scrubber goes here in this slot. Big problem, and this was, like I said, I've never used this one. There's no hole in the bottom of this, so this fills up with sudsy water. And when you pull your squeegee out to squeegee the window, it's a mess, right? So you need to drill a hole here, not here, here. But what I will tell you is I've had very little use for these. Once in a while when I'm doing a lot of ladder work on a big job, yeah, they come in handy. But most of the time, there's no use. I saw a guy one time, he was wearing one of these walking around in $1 million house because he didn't want to have to go back outside and wring out his scrubber and his sponge. It's like, I know he was dripping all over in that house. splashing water, making a mess. Why? Only good outside. Yeah. Anyway, last but not least, what kind of squeegees will you use? Well, they have the quick change handles with the little spring in them. They've got the stainless steel bars. They've got the aluminum channels. They've got all these different things. And you know what all of those have in common is that about every 6 months to a year, the aluminum pits and comes apart, starts messing up. You can't get your squeegee rubbers out. The stainless steel ones, especially now the stainless steel bars are okay. They last a long time, but the quick change handles that come with them, they don't last. The spring rusts because it's spring metal. There's no such thing as a stainless steel spring metal that I'm aware of. So they rust and the spring breaks, and then guess what you got to do? You got to go online and you got to buy some more window cleaning equipment. It's an 8-inch squeegee. I've had it 7, 8 years, 9 years. What I do, buy the handle, which last I checked they're about $5 for a handle. You got to shop around. Some of them charge a lot more than that. But about $5 for a handle. This one's a Pulex. And then you just buy an 18-inch bar. You probably have a hacksaw. You're starting to follow my drift, right? Now this is the 8-inch I've had, like I said, about 7 or 8 years. It's still got some shine to it. But let me show you this one. It's a 14-inch. And also a Pulex handle. But I buy the handles and the bars separately because usually it's cheaper that way. But sometimes you can find them both. But anyway, just get the 18-inch and cut them. And you want to round your corner a little bit. You can do that with a sharpening stone, file, grinding wheel, concrete driveway. Any way to round that corner just a little bit so it doesn't cut people's walls. But you put the squeegee rubber in it, and that's all you ever have to do. I've had this squeegee for 15 years. And I'll have it 15 years from now, and it'll be in just as good a shape, unless I bend it. And they have these little metal clips. Now sometimes you got to replace the clip, but very rare. It's only like $1.99 for a pack of 25. That's a lifetime supply. And when these come to you, it'll have a clip in both ends. There's no need to do that. One clip, one end. 2 clips, it's so hard to get them set just right. So 1 clip, 1 end, no problem. Okay? And that will save you a ton of money buying squeegees. And here's just an idea if anybody in the squeegee making business is watching this. This I came about by accident. It's a 10-inch squeegee, but it's flat. You see there, it's completely flat. And what happened was I ran over it with my car. And but I'll tell you where it comes in handy. When you're squeegeeing something that has a really wide ledge on the bottom, you run into that in restaurants a lot, a really wide bottom ledge. And where you try to use a regular squeegee and your hand gets in the way, you can't bring the squeegee rubber all the way down. This, you bring the squeegee rubber down flat. Comes right down flat, no problem. Wonderful idea. I'm not going to go out running over them to sell them or anything, but I don't recommend you do either. But hopefully somebody will start making a flat squeegee like this, so that you can get your hand back out of the way holding it like this and just bring them down. That has saved me a lot of time on jobs like that. So there you go. There you go. You can see all my squeegees, all of them. Got a full set. I just go every 2 inches. You know, I got a 4-inch, a 6-inch, an 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I don't really use an 18 much anymore because I don't have any businesses where I have big windows I have to deal with. 18s tend to have trouble putting enough pressure on them at the end, which is where having a heavier squeegee comes in handy. Yeah, it's a tiny bit heavier than the others, but it doesn't wear you out at the end of the day, really. Trust me, you don't even notice. But that extra weight does help you to push a little more on the window so that you get better traction at the end, so you're not leaving marks. So those are some tips and tricks. Oh, I did have one more. The buckets. I almost forgot the buckets. They sell special window cleaning buckets. They're long, square buckets with a big plastic handle. I'm not a big fan of plastic handles. They do not last. I've never seen a plastic handle last. And of course, they're in the business of selling buckets, so they don't want to sell you one that you're never going to need another one of, right? So That's what happens. Everything's that way nowadays. I go to Burger King, ask them for a pickle bucket. They're designed to last, and they do last. That metal handle lasts for years and years and years. This bucket over here I've had for a decade or more. I got this one here. It's from Burger King as a backup, just in case someday I need another one. So, you know, those are some tips and tricks. I got some other things that, you know, techniques and stuff that I might make another video to show people later on, but I just wanted to help you save some money. There's no reason to spend hundreds of dollars a year on equipment. I don't. I buy squeegee rubbers by the gross. If you shop around different sites, somebody's going to have some kind of squeegee rubber on sale. It really doesn't make much of a difference if they're soft or if they're hard or if they're this brand or that brand. And no, obviously I'm not being sponsored by anybody, because I'm telling you the cheapest way to go. And they don't want you to do that. They want you to keep buying squeegees. They want you to keep buying scrubbers. They want you to keep buying squeegee rubbers, especially the ones that are $3 each. Don't do that. Buy a gross. Buy a whole 144, a case of them. For the cheapest, whoever's got the cheapest out there, just buy them and use them. It really makes very little difference. I have bought the expensive ones. I've bought the cheap ones. I found very little difference. Very little. And for what they cost, if you get to clean 100 windows with the expensive one or 85 windows with the cheap one, are you really saving money spending double as much for something that's only going to give you a few more windows? So take it from me, somebody that's been around the block, around the block, around the block. I've been doing this a long time. I have found the least expensive way to be a window cleaner. And I just shared with you some of my best money-saving tricks. And like I said, future video, some techniques to save you time. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit that bell, check out some of my other videos. I've got a lot of different subjects, and I'd like for you to check them all out. Thanks again.